Terraria's next update is 1.4.5.7, and somehow what should have been a fairly unremarkable collection of post-update balance changes and bug fixes has mutated into what Relogic is calling the largest hotfix type update in Terraria's history. It has new weapons, many reworked weapons, some class balancing, some new attack mechanics, a lot of enemy changes, and along with that, quality of life features, modding improvements, technical work, and what appears to be, again, a partial reconstruction of what early game Mage is or how it functions. We'll get into that. But then immediately after all of that, Relogic wants to begin implementing crossplay. So today I want to go through every single thing we know about Terraria 1.4.5.7, what we can reasonably determine from the footage, what is still speculation, what comes after the update, and why approximately half the information being talked about online is wrong. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another Terraria video. Today I just want to ramble about the future of Terraria and what it has in store, because there's already some controversy about it and I just wanted to talk about it because why not? Anyways, make sure to hit that like button and press subscribe. We're trying to get to 300 in Deutsch subscribers, so that will be really cool if we can get there. It's a climb, it's a grind, whatever. I know I'm not uploading as consistently if I want to be successful, but that's not what I'm here about. I just want to have fun, right? And I think getting to 300 subscribers would be cool, epic, all right? And I know you guys think it is too. So anyways, first we need to establish what 1.4.5.7 actually is. You see, whenever a game reaches a version that's like X.X.X number, you normally expect a patch containing about like 12 bug fixes, some spelling corrections, some localization things, and an apology to all Linux users. That is roughly the scale implied by the number. It's really small changes, right? That's part of a medium patch, that's part of the bigger patch. That's part of the current version, right? Obviously, if it was called Terraria 2 point something, that's just Terraria 2. All right, it's the second iteration of Terraria. Anyways, Relogic has described this as the largest hotfix update, and it combines a lot of bug fixes with broader class balancing, new mechanics, and quality of life work. And it's not really being presented as another update on the scale of 1.4.5 itself. There's no name for this update, at least not right yet. There's no crossover, there's no new biome, and everything is largely similar in terms of progression. But calling it a normal hotfix would be underselling the update. This is effectively a 1.5 combat and balance update, which happens to be wearing a hotfix number. And as of July 30th, Relogic has said development is nearly complete. Once the actual content is finished, the update has to pass through localization and platform certification. The second part is particularly important because Relogic wants 1.4.5.7 to launch simultaneously across PC, console, and mobile, but that also means that there is no currently confirmed release date. We don't have any information about when this update is coming to any of these consoles, and it's not a secret release date, right? There's nothing hidden. There's no secrets in about that. I mean, there's just no confirmed release date. There's not much information we talk about, but nearly finished does not really mean it's coming out next week, especially when an update has to be translated, tested, submitted, and certified across multiple platforms. It does mean, however, that the content we have shown is probably approaching its final form. The central purpose of this new update is balance. Relogic is reviewing the different classes and attempting to make their overall performance a more comparable range without making them all play identically, right? And I've always said that Mage is my least favorite class to play. It's always been the worst class. And I do think it's because all the weapons are, especially the early game, are particularly samey. None of them feel fun to use. I just don't like the way mana works, but that's obviously not going to be changed with this update. So a lot of my qualms with the Mage class are probably going to be the same, except for the early game part, which is good. I do think that's a good change. But Terraria's classes are not meant to be 4 different colors of the same attack, right? Like I don't want Mage to be just a purple attack or a blue attack, right? Like I want Mage weapons to feel cool, right? Magic should always feel cool. It feels cool in Elden Ring, feels good in Baldur's Gate 3, right? Obviously, I'm not trying to compare what Terraria's Mage class is to Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3, but I do think the idea that Mage and like magic is supposed to be awe-inspiring. I don't really feel that with a lot of Terraria's Mage weapons. I feel that more with Terraria's like melee weapons than the Mage weapons. But I digress. The apparent goal is to preserve their individual strengths and methods of play while reducing the number of situations where one class receives an excellent progression path and the others are supposed to survive on whatever garbage a mimic drops and use that for the rest of like early hard mode. And frankly, Mage needs it. Early Mage progression, again, just feels strangely improvised, right? You have the wand is sparking, you collect some gems, and then you just wait for the world to give you some fallen stars, get some mana, and then assemble whatever staff of geological composition that your world has permitted you to own. And Gem Staves, Gem Staffs? No, they're staves. I don't know what the plural of staff is, I'm sorry. Are useful, but their difference are largely numerical, right? One just travels faster or pierces or costs more mana and does more damage, right? Most of them still express themselves by firing a colored jelly bean, like Skittles thing, at your enemy relatively slowly. And in the new update, I'm just gonna call it the new, I'm sorry, I cannot keep saying 1.4.5.7, it's making my mouth dry. I don't want to talk like that. I'm just gonna call it the update, the next update. The next update, Relogic is giving Gem Staffs new attack patterns. The footage has shown glowing projectiles. Oh my god, sorry. Drink some water, guys. I am very dried mouth right now. I apologize. But anyways, oh my god, I'm getting too distracted. The footage has shown glowing projectiles attaching themselves to surfaces and damaging enemies, along with behavior that appears to involve additional or multiple projectiles. This could make all the Gem Staves meaningfully distinct. I think that's great. But there is an important limitation here. Relogic has not yet published a full mechanical description for each staff. We do not know whether each gem staff is receiving a unique ability. We do not know what staff creates which projectile, other than maybe we could guess by the color. And we also don't know the final damage values, mana cost, crafting requirements, or exact progression order, but they could probably be the same. The footage shows the gem staff's combat is changing, but we don't necessarily have evidence that these are 7 completely distinct weapons and present them as sort of the final construction of these weapons, right? We still don't know that. Still, this is one of the more encouraging parts of the update. Early game weapons benefit far more from different mechanical identity than the other 8% damage increase that a lot of other buff weapons get, right? I think a lot of the early game weapons are very samey. This is fairly even across all the classes though, so it's not just a mage thing, right? We got a bunch of bows, we got a bunch of guns that shoot the same type of projectile, or melee weapons that just all are the same thing but are different skins and just have different number values attached to them, right? That's like a problem every class has. I feel like mage and summoner, and maybe even range should be the easiest classes to remove that, right? Melee's a little hard because it's all just, stabby stab, right? But, who doesn't love stabby stab? But speaking of summoner's also getting new stuff. And one of the teasers show what appears to be a small plant sapling or flower pot-like minion following the player and participating in exquisite combat. It is tiny, botanical, and it looks like something the player would adopt and then force to kill several thousand living creatures, all right? Many such cases. But we don't know its name. We do not know where it even enters progression, how it's summoned, whether it walks fly. Well, we do know it walks, right? It is walking. But we also don't know if it changes its attack patterns according to its environmental conditions. Like, imagine it changes what projectile it shoots or whatever it does depending on what type of biome you're in, right? In like the forest biome, it'll shoot like grass related, like purity biome related stuff, or in the snow biome, it'll shoot like snowballs or icicles, and in the crimson, it shoots like rot projectile. That'd be pretty cool, right? But yeah, another teaser demonstrates a day bloom themed weapon firing plant-like projectiles. This may be connected to the plant minion, or it may just be a separate weapon entirely. The footage does not provide enough information to safely classify every botanical equipment showed in the trailer as summoning. But again, we don't know its name, we don't know its class, we don't know its recipe, we don't know its damage, and the placement all entirely. But these teasers do suggest that the new update is adding more than simple numerical balance change. I think that's great. I think mechanical changes go a long way compared to just number changes. Though number changes are also good, right? It's not that they're bad, but I would rather see a weapon be different than doing a different number. I know you can also carry sentries, by the way. That's also a thing, right? That's actually groundbreaking for the summoning class, right? You could pick up the flame burst sentry and carry it, and it continues to fire at enemies, right? That is fundamentally changing the way sentries, like people even interact with sentries. So a lot of the time people will forego sentries because they're too immobile, right? That's kind of the point. They're called sentries, right? So you put them somewhere and they just stay there. But the fact that they can now act like another minion is not only a free minion slot, but it's just a huge DPS increase for summoners, which is a good addition with the removal of whip chaining. I think that is a good buff to summoning. I'm naturally biased towards summoning. I love all changes to summoning class, but we actually don't know if we can just do this for free, right? The conditions to allow the player to carry a sentry are largely unknown, whether or not it requires an accessory or whether or not we can just do it. We don't know if every sentry can be picked up, right? Like, what about the crystals, right? The crystals in the rainbow crystal. I forgot what it's called. It's the one you get from the Moon Lord, right? Like those types of summons or sentries. We don't know if we can carry those. So I doubt we could. Like, it doesn't really make sense to just grab that, right? Or like the vortex portal. It doesn't really make sense you can grab those. So maybe not all sentries can be grabbed. But if this is a universal sentry mechanic, honestly, it would definitely improve sentry only runs, and it would improve the summoning class holistically. So I don't know. Yeah, I've always wanted to pick up a tower and start shooting stuff. That sounds pretty fun. And I guess range class is also getting a lot of changes, right? With ammo randomization, right? We can now see that an ammo consuming weapon now randomly selects between multiple ammunition types in the player's inventory. Instead of placing one type of ammo at the top of your inventory and firing only that, the weapon now appears to cycle unpredictably through several types. This is one of those features where it can either become an entertaining build mechanic or just kind of annoying to deal with depending on how it's implemented. Imagine loading a weapon with every type of special arrows and allowing every single shot to pull from the collection. One arrow could inflict a debuff, one pierces, one explodes, one ricochets. Another has been, sitting in your inventory since pre-hard mode, and it's just a normal arrow, and it's just like a stack of those because you never really touch those arrows. But there is potential for deliberate ammunition mixtures, weapons built around this randomization, or equipment which rewards carrying varied supply. But there's a lot of things we don't know, right? We don't know if this could be a toggle. We don't know if this could be a universal change. We don't know if it's an accessory, and we don't know if it's even a new weapon, right? Until a relogic explains it, or until we see it for ourselves, it's just gonna be a mystery. And I guess homing arrows are sort of a new thing. Sorta, right? Like glorify. Why should bullets get all the praise and auto aim and the lack of skill? I'm just kidding. It's very skilled having a ranged weapon that you can just sit in the corner and fire, while me, the summoning and the melee build, have to do all the work. I get it, okay? It is what it is, all right? I'm not judging, all right? Don't hate the player, hate the game. I get that. But if normal arrows can be given homing behavior, it opens up a much larger number of animation combinations than simply adding one new homing arrow. We don't really know how it works. A lot of these things, we don't know how it works. So a lot of this is just speculation. It is building hype. It is pretty good hype, I will say that. And yo-yos are also getting reviewed. So every class so far has gotten new stuff. Every class has gotten something cool to look at. So yo-yos are overhauled, right? Rather than increasing their damage, Relogic wants at least some yo-yos to have more distinctive effects. And in the new update, the Cascade gains the ability to damage nearby enemies after striking its original target. But again, we don't know anything about it, but the intention is obvious, right? The Cascade is being given a new identity connected to chaining damage between enemies, which is a lot more interesting than just being another yo-yo that you randomly get and you just throw away or sell. And Relogic has not only demonstrated a portion of the bounce work, so Cascade may be one example of a much wider yo-yo rework. And alternatively, only a small collection of underused yo-yos may have new effects, but either result is possible, and a complete rework has not actually been announced. But other specific weapons like the Glorified Claymore is getting over, right? It's being more in fashion to the Knight's Edge and Excalibur in terms of rework, or the Headless Horseman blade, right? It releases a spore cloud, but it also has the same effect as the Excalibur, right? If there's an explosion, this gives the weapon actual good use, because it's more of a personal tangent, but the Glorified Claymore is actually one of the most underrated weapons in the game. I used this to absolutely demolish Terraria once. It was like my first playthrough ever, and this was such a long time ago. But I remember it was like I demolished Terraria with the Glorified Claymore, and I loved the weapon. I used it all the way to Golem, I think. Well, obviously I'll take Golem. That was like the last boss in the game at the time. But yeah, it was a great weapon. I really liked it because it's just a big weapon. Right? I really liked the slow weapons back then, and it shot like a pretty strong projectile, but it was controlled by gravity. But it does seem to be very similar to the Saber now, in terms of it firing a spore cloud, and that it just fire. It's very similar in that. But we don't know the damage, don't know anything. But I would love to see this rework happen to most melee weapons, or if not every melee weapon. right? I feel like most, especially early hard mode and mid hard mode weapons, where they feel very similar. I think the influx weaver. My God, I haven't used that weapon in a hot minute, but I think that is desperate need of a rework, because it's like everything that, because I remember seeing a lot of those Terra Blade versus Influx Weaver comparison videos, and everyone say that Influx Weaver is better. And it's still a remnant of like an old time where all melee weapons used to just be ranged weapons, but doing a different damage type, and having infinite ammo. But the Influx Weaver is definitely a remnant of that era of Terraria weapon philosophy, and I would love to see it reworked into something a lot cooler than it just being projectile spam and then more projectile. So that is opening the door to a lot of things. And we do know that this is definitely not the last Terraria update, because they have said that they've just sort of dropped the whole last update shtick, right? The facade is over, right? The spiel of last update is done. It's over. Right, we can stop memeing about it, right? It's been so many last updates that they have actually just given up on the last update. Like, they themselves have lost faith in it being the last update. And there's still more things to look at, such as a new ice weapon. Obviously, it's probably obtained in the snow biome, but we don't know anything about it. We literally don't know anything about it. Like, we actually just don't know anything. But we do know it could be a new weapon. It's definitely a new weapon. That is what we know. I don't know what else to say. I just saw this and thought it was pretty cool, I guess. But enemies are being reviewed, thank God. So I will personally say the main enemy that's being talked about, the gastropod, I've never had an issue with it. Sure, it's annoying, but I think that annoying is what made it so iconic to the Holobind. I think getting rid of that is kind of weird. It's kind of a skill issue if you really have a problem with it, but who am I to judge? Right? If they can make it cooler, that'd be great. But if they just make it so it doesn't shoot you from off the screen, what's even the point? Right? I feel like that's like the defining mechanic of this enemy. It keeps you on your toes 24/7, especially in master mode. In early master mode, hard mode, that thing is a beast. It is actually one of the most obnoxious enemies in the game, and I love it. I really do. I think it's a great nighttime hollow. But again, we don't know what enemies are being reworked. We just know that some are. We just know that some of them are, and they're reviewing the assortment of invisible hitboxes and off-screen attacks that can make it feel unfair. It is unfair, but I do think that unfairness is what makes it particularly engaging and memorable. Obviously, I don't think they're going to overhaul every enemy in the game, but it'd be cool if they slowly do that with each of these hotfixes. And new hotkeys. I love hotkeys. The dash hotkey has been one of the greatest things added to the game. I'm not even joking. Like, the dash hotkey has actually turned Duke Fishron into the easiest boss in the game with the Shield of Cthulhu. It's not even a joke. Like, the fact that you can perfectly time your dodges or your dashes to dodge into it with the Shield of Cthulhu and avoid taking any damage is honestly just one of the greatest things ever. And you no longer have to worry about getting carpal tunnel either, right? I have mine on like mouse 5, so I don't have to worry about getting carpal tunnel anymore, because I no longer have to spam A or D. I can just hold the direction I want to go, click mouse 5 or mouse 4, and you just dash in that direction, and you can spam it. Honestly, it feels oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm too excited. It feels faster to do it. It really does. It feels a lot faster. It just feels better to dash with the hotkey, and I'm glad that they're adding other hotkeys. Though I don't really know what they're adding hotkeys for. Magic Mirror, Recall Potion, Rod of Discord. Rod of Discord would actually be really useful if they did. Cell phone stuff, shell phone, I don't know, like those types of hotkeys. What else would they add? Maybe fishing, so you don't have to hold a fishing rod. That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean that's all I can think of right now. I mean that's good though. That is pretty good. Maybe they're gonna add vein mining finally into the game, because man, I cannot go back to playing the military without vein mining. Like, mining just takes up so much. Anyway, I need to stop rambling. I mean, it's called the random rant video, but I need to stop rambling so much. So what happens after 1.4.5.7? What happens with the new update? The current plan is to move towards crossplay. This is where version number could become especially horrible. Right? People who have referred to 1.4.6 and crossplay as Terraria's next major milestone is true in a broad sense, but 1.4.6 is not the immediate next update. 1.4.5.7 comes first. Relogic has announced that balance feedback from 1.4.5.7 may be addressed as part of subsequent crossplay update. So the sequence could probably look like this, right? Terraria 1.4.5 is released on January 27th. Terraria 1.4.5.7 is the next update. Crossplay Phase 1 is planned afterward. Later crossplay work, including Phase 2, follows that, and Terraria development continues beyond Crossplay. So it seems that it's being divided into phases, connecting every version of Terraria across each platform, well, the modernized platform. Obviously, we're not going to be able to cross-play with the 3DS version, or the Wii U version, or the Vita version, or the Windows Phone version, as unfortunate as it may be. But it's probably going to include new-gen console, or by new-gen I mean current-gen console, and PC and mobile, Switch 2, because Switch 2 is its own version, I think. I don't think it's part of the same console like version. I'm not actually entirely sure. I have Terraria on the Switch and Switch 2, but I've actually never played it on the Switch 2. I just bought it for the novelty of having it. So I'm not actually sure. You still, like, the whole idea of crossplay is that you still have to know the IP and all that stuff, how that works. So it's not really that simple like it is with Steam. You're gonna have to know a little bit about how Rants works and all that stuff, but hopefully they have something where it's like Baldur's Gate 3 where you're able to just connect, or maybe I don't know, maybe they're gonna have a Terraria account where you can make an account to easily connect, because I know a lot of people, right? I don't want to be mean here, right? But a lot of people simply just don't know how it works. It's not complicated or anything, but a lot of people just don't know how it works, and it's gonna take some googling for them to figure out how it works. So maybe there's a way they could dumb it down for some people. I'm not talking about myself, guys. I know how it works, guys. Trust me, I know how it works. All right, I'm just saying. I'm just suggesting. I'm just giving suggestions. Right? I would love to have a Terraria account. All right, that'd be pretty tough. But I don't guess a lot of people forget the password too. That's also a possibility. But what does crossplay not confirm? What it doesn't confirm is you're probably not going to be able to use the same character and world between the consoles, right? You can't take a character that you had on PC and probably port it over to PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, or mobile, right? Right, that's just not something that you could do, and it's very unfortunate. I wish I could take my mobile and my old gen console player characters, right, or not my old gen, sorry, my current gen console characters to my PC where everything is, but it is what it is. Okay, it's okay. And seamless platform matchmaking hasn't been confirmed, so you're not going to be able to join Rando's world. As fun as that would be, honestly, like, imagine having open Terraria servers where just anyone can join. That would be pretty sick. Like, just random people. And at one point, Relogic did mention 1.4.5.8 as an assumption about what might follow 1.4.5.7. This is not a formal announcement that they have made. They just said that this is a possibility, and saying 1.4.5.8 is definitely confirmed as the patch is just not true. This could be the crossplay phase 1 update. This could just be another emergency hotfix, right? Because the thing is with the using of the X point number is that we don't, especially with the way they're using it here, we don't really know what any of these updates could entail. It could literally be anything. And I don't know. Widescreen support is cool though. I do like widescreen support and some mysterious building feature. Okay, we don't really know. The thing, there's so much things shrouded in mystery. We don't know what comes out. And tMod will not be updating to 1.4.5, simultaneously 1.4.5.7. The stable tMod branch is still based on 1.4.4, so work on a 1.4.5 is its own development process. It's not tangentially related to the current next updates for Terraria. These are two different systems working that a lot of people conflate working together. And also because a lot of mods have been updated to 1.4.4, and the ones that have either fully migrated or they haven't fully migrated. Some content still being ported over. So if they're going to switch over to 1.4.5, a lot of those mods are going to be far behind. So we're going to see it's like a culling down of a lot of mods. Some mods just don't have the manpower to sustain porting them to the new updates with competing with all the new systems that Terraria is introducing, or the new mechanic. That's just gonna have to be it's gonna take its time, or some mods just won't be able to do it ever, which is unfortunate, but that's just the cost of updating the base game. That it is what it is. So I guess to talk about things that are confirmed in sort of like rapid fire fashion is that the next actual update is indeed 1.4.5.7. It's the largest hotfix update. Development is near completion, but localization, platform certification still have to happen. There's no confirmed release date. There's broad class and equipment balance stuff. Early game Mage and Gem Staves are being particularly in the spotlight, but that doesn't really confirm the scope of it, nor does it confirm that other things aren't getting changed. New plant-themed weapons. You can carry the flame burst sentry. Randomized selection of multiple ammunition types has been demonstrated. Homing arrow has been demonstrated. Cascade is gaining a secondary enemy damaging effect. The Chloride Claymore is receiving a overhaul. Unidentified ice team weapon or attack. Enemy aggression, attack range, invisible hitboxes, and frustrating off-screen attacks are being reviewed. Doesn't necessarily mean they're being changed, they're just being looked at. Gastropods specifically are being mentioned here. Additional hotkeys and quality of life changes are coming. Console and mobile text layouts are being improved. Backend and modability related problems are being addressed. The complete changelog and final item statistics has not been published. After 1.4.5.7, the current plan is to release Crossplay Phase 1. Phase 1 focuses on direct IP and port connections, LAN server listings, remembered servers, and UPnP. Phase 2 is intended to add a simpler session ID or join code system. So neither phase has a confirmed release date. Cross progression is not confirmed. Modded crossplay is definitely not confirmed. 1.4.5.8 is not formally confirmed. Widescreen support is experimental but not confirmed. The advanced building feature is experimental, not confirmed. tModLoader will not update simultaneously, and its 1.4.5 port is still expected to take a few months. Third development is planned to continue after crossplay. So in conclusion, 1.4.5.7 is a strange update indeed. Its version number makes it sound puny and insignificant, but its actual content is pretty big and is honestly game changing for a lot of especially for Mage or every class actually. It's honestly odd to see this naming convention. I wouldn't be surprised if they randomly did like a Silk song and took a little more time on it and turned it into 1.4.6. Because again, these 0.6 updates, like these 1.4.1s, 1.4.2, 1.4.3, they're significant updates, but they're not ground changing, right? Like what? I think it was 1.4.2 that added Deerclops, and that was probably the biggest update like in terms of content, because Deerclops is a whole new boss. Or it might be 1.4.1. I don't think it was it added originally? I don't think it was. I don't remember. Oh my god, I don't remember. I really don't remember. It's been so long since 1.4 even came out. That happened in 2020, dude. Well, I was in 6th or 7th grade in 2020, and now I'm starting my first year at university. All right, that's how long it's been since 1.4 came out. It's crazy. That's insane. 6 years. Jeez. But yeah, like that's pretty much it. I do think the sentry carrying is probably the coolest thing added. That is really sick. I hope you can carry every sentry, because not only would that be really funny, it'd be really OP. But yeah, that's just gonna be it, guys. If you like what you saw, hit that like button, press subscribe. Like I said, we're trying to get to 300 subscribers. I don't think this video is gonna get that many views. I don't really care. I think it's an interesting topic. That's why I want to talk about it. But yeah, I just think it's fun. I think this is cool. I love Terraria so much. It's the greatest game. I'm very confident in calling it top, in my personal top game of all time. It's just such a great game. I started playing this game when I was like 4, all right? When I was 3 and 4. That's how long I've been playing this game, okay? That's how much my connection is to this game. Me and Terraria are like this. You can't currently see it, but I'm crossing my fingers right now because we are so close. Me and Terraria. I know Terraria like at the back of my hand, all right? Anyway, I'm just trolling, guys. See you guys next time. Peace!